Hello, Tom Lavecchia here with the New Theory podcast. As you should be aware, April is Autism Awareness Month, and we have a very special guest today. Her name is Debbie Stone. She is the founder of Pop Earth, and I want her to explain exactly what they do because there's some great stuff that they are doing, taking an holistic approach in terms of autism. And she's a remarkable person. Debbie Stone, welcome to the New Theory podcast. How are you doing today?
Hey, Tom. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, and thank you for recognizing April as Autism Awareness Month.
It's my pleasure. So let's first start off with, tell us about Pop Earth, the organization that you founded.
Sure. So Pop Earth is a charity that I founded back in 2012. At that point, we were the first in the country to offer low-cost to free holistic health and wellness options for people with autism and special needs. And the beauty about our program is that no one's ever turned away based on an inability to pay.
So there's kind of a few different things going on. The first is, and I think you could probably agree with this, and you probably were part of the betterment in your area, but 2012 versus 2018, we look at autism much differently. So give us, in 2012 when you launched, what was the reception, what was the thought, and then how did it progress now to 2018?
So we'll go back a little further than that. I have a son. His name's Dylan, and he's autistic. And when Dylan was diagnosed, it was right around 2005. I started to see things, that were a little bit different with him. And at that point, there really wasn't a lot available besides ABA therapy, which is applied behavioral analysis.
Okay.
In terms of teaching these kids and trying to help them speak and communicate. I started looking at alternative ways to help him, namely through nutrition, dietary interventions. He did a bunch of therapies and treatments, and I have to tell you, each one was more expensive than the next.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough at that point to be able to afford those things. But, when I would go to the other parents and say, hey, Dylan had a lot of success with XYZ, usually I was met with, I'd love to be able to do that, but, we just can't afford it.
Wow.
And that was the whole premise of me starting Pop Earth and just why I did it. And doing these non-invasive holistic health and wellness-based programs. We do a program called Home for Autism, which is yoga, Reiki, aromatherapy, and a little light massage in one sitting for them. We cater to about 10 kids in that program per session, and the results are absolutely amazing. When you see how calm the kids are and how in tune they are with following directions, hand-eye coordination is greatly improved. Our program Eatable introduces new, healthy, nutritious foods to them. We have a lot of celebrity chefs that come in and do that.
Nice.
My chairman is Chef Franklin Becker, who's from Bravo Top Chef, and he was chef partner at Little Beat and co-founder of Hungry Root. He also has a son with autism, and he's very instrumental in that program as well. We've been lucky where we've been able to grow these programs organically here in New York State, in Colorado, and New Jersey, and we're looking to branch out across the rest of the country as well.
Okay, so I love this because you're an entrepreneur. Cause I know Debbie, but what you did was you took almost an itch that needed to be scratched. And so here's the thing, and I'm always a very candid person on and off the podcast. I didn't know that people ran into financial limitations because my knee-jerk kind of my non-educated response would be, doesn't insurance cover this stuff?
Unfortunately, it does not. The only thing that insurance companies are required to cover regarding autism is applied behavioral analysis therapy. And even that particular therapy, depending on your level of coverage, it can be very minimal, where somebody's going to come in and help you a few times a month, to where you can get it a little more frequently than that. There's nothing that's health-based currently that's covered by insurance.
Wow. So that's and I wish I was a little bit more educated, because it doesn't also, and you might have kind of touched over or reframed it, doesn't early intervention really help as well?
Early intervention 100% helps. I think any little bit of help that you can get upon hearing that your child has this diagnosis is wonderful. So I can't begin to say enough about that. However, on the flip side, early intervention mainly focuses on the academic side of autism and really getting them to be as productive as they can in society. But on the flip side of all of that, as the rest of us, there's a health based option that needs to be addressed there too. That's kind of where we came in and sort of filled in the gap. Here in New York State, Medicaid has recognized quite a few of our programs, including the yoga program that I described, and massage therapies and Reiki therapies to be covered. So there's a program here in New York called ISS, Independent Support Services, and we were able to get quite a few of our programs approved through them.
Okay, now I'm going to ask kind of a question, and I know it's subjective, and it's not an easy question to ask. As a parent, you know this. As a parent, we love our kids. We want the best for our kids, but sometimes they may blind us. And what do you do if maybe you see a child that may be on the spectrum that's not your child, but the parent is either not recognizing it, or or is maybe like in a bad way. And I don't mean to say this, but I'll just say it. And there's still some of a stigma. How do you approach a parent and say, hey, you might want to consider this, or do you not? Like, how does that work? Because I know right now I still think even in 18, there's still people that recognize this and that we're very progressive. But I still think there's people that still hold a stigma to it. So what do you recommend to people in the community that may see behavior where the parents don't recognize it?
So I think when in this case, I'll say this: most of the time, I do not offer my opinion to anyone unless it's asked.
Okay.
And that's because I think every parent deals with what the shortcomings of their child is, whether they're typical or atypical in this case, in their own way.
Yeah.
For me, I hit it head on. There's a lot of parents sitting in my chair at Popper. There's a lot of parents that, for lack of a better word, are in denial. And it takes, hearing a diagnosis like this where somebody tells you, we don't know what caused this, there is no cure, it's a lifelong affliction. It's very cut and dry, and it's a lot for you to absorb and take in. So you don't necessarily want to hear that from anyone else, but usually the school districts can spot what the differences and the difficulties are. And lucky for us, they have people that are trained to talk and speak to parents about this. I generally, for myself, don't offer an opinion because I've been that parent where, you sit there and you hope. I mean, my son, his initial diagnosis came at 3, but it really didn't solidify until he was 5 when he was nonverbal. And I'll tell you what, for those 2 years, I was very optimistic and, hey, he's going to come out of this. Maybe he's a late talker, all of these things. So, I can see how some parents can be, a little distant when it comes to accepting what that diagnosis may be.
Got it. Now, you're in Long Island, you're a great mom, but like doing what you do is a labor of love, as a parent,
It
but
really
also,
is.
yeah. And also for Pop Earth. So why do it? I love you. You know that, Deb. But like, why do it? Give us why do it,
Well, I'll tell you what. There are some days where you sit here and there's intense pressure and there's such a need. Unfortunately, autism has grown an unprecedented 30% in 2 years.
Wow.
I want you to know that in all of humanity's history, we have never had a disease or a diagnosis, for lack of a better word, grow that quickly in that short of a time frame.
Wow.
To really look at and take seriously. And when I see that, and I see the amount of families that need our help, especially, I want you to know that here in the United States, after you hit 21, services for you as an autistic or special needs individual, they virtually evaporate on your 21st birthday.
Wow.
Pop Earth comes in and fills in that gap for these people where we're delivering, quality programming with qualified individuals that really care about this population. We put a lot of our heart and soul into each and every program that we do. And seeing those faces and seeing the happiness that radiates out of them, because truthfully, I mean, they just want to be acknowledged as human beings.
Yes.
And, as human beings, we're very social creatures. We all want to feel loved. And that's what my organization brings to that. So whenever it gets to be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I remember that. And I put one foot in front of the other and keep it going.
I love it. And you took a little different angle, which I love. Like you kind of took the chef angle where you go to a center, a home, or a place, bring in a chef that they may or may not know and just cook and have fun and that kind of stuff. So what's been the reception? Because I haven't been to one of your events yet, and I hope to come soon. And we'll talk about a big event you have coming up. But what has been the reception on kind of the cooking angle? Because I think that's ingenious.
So one of the things that was really helpful for Dylan was a lot of dietary intervention. Removing like the fake food dyes and the fake sugars and all of those refined ingredients that are in a lot of ready-made products that obviously children love. I mean, kids love chicken nuggets, French fries, pizza, those things.
Yep.
So finding healthy alternatives to that. I myself hosted an eatable event at JCC, and we made Israeli pizza. And it was something that I came up with. It was taking pita, whole wheat pita, and the kids spread it with hummus, and we put it in the oven. It warmed up a little bit, and we made a chopped Israeli salad to go on top of it.
That's fun.
And some of these kids have never tried a cucumber before, and some have never had hummus before. But related into that process of being hands-on and creating something, and they're curious. They want to try it. So we found that nutrition and, the hands-on approach to creating your own food really resounded with them, with getting them to try new things. And then because of Franklin, we have a lot of chef connections, and it made a lot of sense to do that.
Perfect. Now, leading into, you have an annual event, which is a can't miss event out in Long Island. First, tell us about how that event and whether somebody wants to attend or at least contribute from remote. Give us the details and how they can be a part of it.
Sure. So we are kicking off summer this year on June 24th. It's a Sunday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The gorgeous Ohika Castle. It's the second largest residence in the U.S. next to the Biltmore.
Nice.
And we're having this celebrity chef barbecue and music festival on the front lawn of Ohika Castle. The castle will be the backdrop to all of this. So kids are welcome. If you have special needs, you're welcome to attend for free, by the way, with your caretaker or aide or parent. Tickets are $150 to attend, $250 for a VIP ticket gets you in an hour before the event to do a meet and greet with about 20 to 25 celebrity chefs.
Nice.
The details are on our website at popearth.org. Tickets are on sale there. Sponsorships are still available. We get a tremendous crowd. Last year we did it at the quote-unquote Billions house from the Showtime series. Yep. And we had over 500 people attend that party. Beautiful. And we raised over $250,000 that night and a ton of awareness about our programs in autism. So we're hoping to make it another successful event this year.
Love it. So folks, if you're interested in attending or at least sponsoring remotely, go to popearth.org. It is correct, popearth.org, correct?
That's correct.
And how can we find you, Deb?
How can you find me?
Yeah. If anybody wants to follow you on your public profile, we don't need any stalkers, right? You have any public profiles, or is it good enough just to follow Pop Earth?
They can follow Pop Earth at pop_earth on Instagram. And also we're on Facebook at Pop Earth. And any messages, I have parents that reach out to the organization and they can reach me directly through that.
Love it. And I'll put a link. And Debbie, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.